up, Freediving fans? Jonathan here with you today, and I've got Kevin Mahaffey, one of our team divers, and we had a pretty crazy thing just happen recently. You saved your very first blackout.
Yeah, first time seeing one other than the videos and, you know, going over it in your level 1 class, doing all the simulations.
Okay.
Pretty crazy to see it firsthand, but pretty cool to see how successful it was and how second nature it was to go through the motions. I was able to rescue my first blackout. First time seeing it, and luckily I had the training to know what to do.
Absolutely. So never seen a blackout besides videos and training and practicing with people, but this was your first no BS.
No, and the crazy part was I basically could see it happening. Saw the loss of motor control, knew it was happening. Okay. So I guess we should.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. I actually haven't heard the story yet, so I intentionally was trying not to ask you because I wanted to hear it first on camera. So go from the very beginning. What's the dive day look like? So
nice forecast, a couple foot chop.
Okay.
Went out to about 600 feet of water.
Okay.
Diving with a few really experienced divers. One actually is an FII instructor.
Awesome.
And he was basically setting the ground rules. He had the plate set down pretty deep. He was planning on doing some deep diving.
What's considered deep?
For him is 180 feet.
Okay.
So I was hoping to get in the 100-foot range.
Okay.
And the third diver, who actually was the one who had the blackout, first time diving with him.
Okay.
First time meeting him. There was a couple practices that probably could have avoided this whole situation.
Interesting.
So basically, we all started off with some pull downs to get warmed up. I felt pretty good. First pull down to about 30 foot, did a hang.
Awesome.
Second pull down to about 60 foot, did a 230.
Okay.
Really felt like my dive reflex was warming
Kicking
up.
in, yeah.
Yeah. Third dive, I actually got my personal best to 115.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
The equalizations worked okay?
Everything worked great, just being relaxed. All my diaphragm stretches I've been doing have really been paying off.
Awesome.
So what I noticed was the diver who had the blackout, his first dive, he surfaced away from the float and immediately went onto his back and started doing his recovery breaths on his back. He was corrected by the instructor who we had out diving with us and said, hey, when you surface, make sure put your hands on your float. We're right there. If something happens, you're on the float. The diver basically gave him some words back that he was going to do his own thing.
Okay.
And that was a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
The instructor was probably telling him that because he's seen this happen before.
We've seen a few things.
From there, basically, you want to gradually work your way down. I believe it was the diver's third dive.
Okay. After his pull downs or third dive period?
Third dive period.
Okay.
And he basically announced that he was going to make a deep dive. The instructor asked him, how deep are you going to go?
Right.
He was not wearing a watch, so he said, I don't know. Basically, I'm just going to go.
Okay.
So I was the designated safety that was going to wait at depth, and we were going to have a second safety, the third diver, who's going to be on the surface, who was the instructor. Basically, I was told after 1 minute I was going to make a dive to time it, meet him on his way up.
Which is difficult to know because you don't know his current depth, right?
Don't know what depth he was going or his time. So, definitely having that plan ahead of time is able to.
You can be a better safety when your diver knows.
Makes it safer for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I noticed as a safety on his entry wasn't really the way I learned to do things.
Okay.
First started with a pull down.
Okay.
I noticed a breaststroke, some kicks, one more pull before he then went into kick cycle.
So just a lot of extra movement that you don't typically do if you have a good clean water entry that you learn in level 1 and then we recover or go over again in level 2. All those extra level pulls and extra breaststrokes that you do, that's precious
burning
oxygen. Yeah, that's precious oxygen that you need from the beginning.
Right. So basically watched him go into his sink phase, knew he was going deep.
Cool.
After 1 minute, made a dive. I'm now hanging out on the line at 40 feet. It was, I think, about 1:30 that I see him. He was probably about 50 foot.
Okay.
Noticed that his kick started slowing down. Got my attention. Was starting to think this maybe isn't just a routine safety.
Yep.
I then saw him reach out and grab the line. He did one pull, one breaststroke, release of air onto his back, and started sinking. Luckily, the instructor had staged me at the right time, at the right depth. Having taken a course, I knew exactly protect that airway. Yeah. Luckily, I was at depth. If I was at the surface, there's no way.
It would have been a tough haul to get to him quickly. Yeah.
Right. He was already sinking. So a lot of planning did go right.
Right.
A lot of
that's true.
Safety measures that we put in place on the controlled line dive did, I think, have turned out for.
I mean, it saved his life, literally. Yeah.
So grabbed the airway, secured the airway closed, hand over the chin to the mask, sandwich on the back of the head, swim him up onto his back, arm underneath the underarm, do, support the back of the head, took his mask off.
Yeah. Everything we teach like in level 1, right? Like exactly, that's like textbook.
It's great because you don't want to be thinking about at the time, what should I do? But having it ingrained into your head and not having to think about it in a stressful situation, it's pretty cool to see that your mind remembers exactly what you were taught.
So kind of leaving the story a little bit, how much practice do you put to your safety? And answer this honestly, right? I know this may not be everybody answer the way I want to hear, but how much practice do you put into that exact scenario after the course?
Not as much as I'd like to admit.
So I think that's a real, honest answer, because everybody takes the course and then, there's this ideology that they think that they're going to practice it, but they end up not really practicing it.
In a perfect world, you should. I think after this story, I definitely, especially when diving with new guys for the first time, instead of just saying, hey, have you taken a class? I think I'm going to take one step further and saying, when I'm diving, my life is in your hands, and when you're diving, my life is in your hands. So to benefit both of us, let's just take 5 minutes. You show me that you're confident and comfortable, you remember how to do a rescue, and I'll do the same for you. And that's a great way to start the day, refresh your memory. Luckily, it was fresh enough in my memory.
And that's what's so exciting, is that for me as an instructor, even though you don't practice it, and no one does, right? No one goes out and does what you just said. Now, is that a fantastic idea? Yes, do that. Please do that. But the reality is that nobody does, and maybe this video helped to change the idea of that. But even though you didn't put into practice, every weekend or every once a month even, it was still there.
Having taken a course, I remembered exactly what to do.
And that's exciting for me as an instructor.
Had I not taken the course, I definitely probably wouldn't be thinking about secure the airway. I probably would have just grabbed the guy and swam up to the surface at that depth. I mean, that's a deep water blackout. So my dive watch actually said 46 feet was where I grabbed him. That's a deep water blackout. Airway needs to be protected, needs to be closed.
It's a long way to travel with him unconscious.
Luckily, fast forward, diver's completely okay.
Awesome.
He definitely learned a lesson. I think we all learned a little bit of a lesson, just setting up these steps, maybe gradually building up to depth instead of your third dive going for an unknown depth, deep dive.
So do we have any idea how deep he went?
We don't. I would probably estimate somewhere between 130, 140. Okay. Which
how deep had he dove before that?
So this is my first time diving with this guy. Don't really know if that was his personal best. We're also kind of guessing at his depth because he wasn't wearing a watch.
Yeah, that's tough. And it's these little steps, like you mentioned early on in the video, right? These little red flags that are making the difference in a good planned safety. And like you mentioned as well, there was enough good planning, right, that saved this guy's life. So that is awesome. That's amazing that was the case. But if we would have had just maybe a couple more steps implemented,
prevent the blackout
and you could prevent the blackout altogether, or maybe get to the surface with a loss of motor control, and that's way less of a hypoxic event than a blackout at 40 feet. That's super deep. Most people will never experience a blackout or loss of motor control on the surface. Very few of those that do experience it will experience what you did.
Isn't it like less than 1%
Less than
under
1%, yes.
33 feet?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, you are in the elite, my friend.
well, I'll be perfectly okay if that is the last blackout I have to
Fair
see
enough.
or have a part in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy everyone's okay, and
too.
happy that I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And you
I
had the
wanna
training.
go home.
You had the training. I think the biggest takeaway, right, is if you very well mentioned, if you don't have the training, you would have just grabbed him by the shirt or the wetsuit and gone to the surface, and he may or may not have been okay, right? Securing that airway is everything. And then I think the next takeaway, right, that we all need to do, myself included, is practice it more often, right? When you get on the boat, and it's especially someone that you're not, used to
first time
diving
diving with somebody.
show me how you safety me, because like you also mentioned, my life is in your hands, and I've got 2 kids and a wife that I like to go home to, and I'm sure that you've got some people that you like, even if it's just your cat, that you want to go home to. I'm going to make sure that you do that as your safety. Okay, so another question that I had that I think is valuable to our viewers is, it's awesome to hear that this guy's okay and he's safe and everything's good after the fact, but for you as the primary safety, what kind of was going through your, maybe not during the exact event, because I feel like for me at least, I flip everything off and go into, what my reactions are. Yeah, exactly. You go with what you've been training. But after the fact, right? After it's all said and done, your emotions kind of set in a little bit. Any thoughts, feelings?
I'm glad I took a course. I'm glad I know what to do.
Okay.
Definitely was an eye opener on the safety, why you're not diving alone, and why you dive with someone who knows what to do. Is definitely some thankful feelings going on in my head that I was able to. I mean, I know I personally wouldn't be able to live with being a part of somebody who was a freediving fatality.
Right.
So just knowing that I had that training, I was able to know what to do. I definitely was feeling very thankful. I know the diver was feeling very thankful.
Cool.
He was basically to cut off the rest of the day, probably even longer than that. He's gonna take some time to recover and reset. But yeah, it was, I think for everybody, a little bit of an eye opener on why there is so much necessary training that goes into
the beforehand, before you start making personal best dives. And you made a good point, right? So once you do have a hypoxic event of some sort, so whether it be a loss of motor control at the surface, a blackout at the surface, or even a blackout underwater as you experienced, that diver is done diving for the day, right? They're going to be exhausted, they're going to be wiped out. So making sure that they hydrate really well and get a great night's sleep, those 2 main things. And if you're on a trip somewhere, if it wasn't too crazy, like the one that you had was pretty crazy, they're good to go back and dive the next day. But in that same day, they can only do surface stuff. So only surface safety, no diving, no breath hold diving of any kind. What that does is if they start doing breath holds, they're going to black out again, right? And it's going to be potentially worse. Did you guys talk to him about the dive itself? What was going on through his brain during the dive?
Yeah, so he said he basically remembers up until he got to the turnaround point. He doesn't remember
actually
the ascent at all.
Wow.
So it was this is a little bit of a different situation than most people are going to encounter with a blackout. It's a very deep blackout.
Right.
It's more than just a couple seconds on the surface. It was, the ascent from 46 feet plus the 10 or so seconds on the surface. So definitely a little bit
very, very different than what anyone will ever experience. Most people will ever experience. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did find value in this content, please be sure to leave us a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out more of Kevin, you can find him on the gram, and we'll put his handle right here in this area, right here. So check him out, and until next time, see you in the next one.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did find value in this content, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave us a like. And if you had any questions on any of the content that we followed in this video or any of our other videos, just leave us a comment in the section below and we'll be sure to get back to you on that. And as always, you can find all of the products that we talk about, including this cool hat, on our website at flfreedivers.com, and we'll see you in the next one.